Hello students, this question is asked very frequently in the examination. Question is, describe the external carotid artery and its branches. So we have to describe the origin, okay, and its relation and termination, and then lastly the branches of the external carotid artery. Answer is, it is a terminal branch of common carotid artery, and common carotid artery, it comes from onto the left side directly from arch of aorta and onto the right side as a branch of the brachiocephalic trunk. Okay, so this artery is a terminal branch of the common carotid artery, okay, that you should note, and it arises at the level of the upper border of the thyroid cartilage. Okay, so external carotid artery is the terminal branch of the common carotid artery, and common carotid, as I said, it arises from different sources on right and the left side. On the right side from brachiocephalic trunk, and onto the left side directly from the arch of the aorta, and then it divides into the terminal branches in the carotid triangle in the neck. Okay, now this if we go to the origin of the external carotid artery, it arises at the level of the upper border of the thyroid cartilage. At the level of the upper border of the thyroid cartilage, the common carotid will divide into two terminal branches, external carotid and that of the internal carotid. Okay, now the external carotid artery is responsible to supply the most of the part of the head, okay, most of the part of the neck and the head, while internal carotid artery, as we will see later, will supply the most of the parts within the cranial cavity, including the brain. So we are on the external carotid artery, which will supply the lot of the areas of the neck and the head. Let us come to the course of this external carotid artery. After its origin, okay, at the level of this upper border of thyroid cartilage, okay, it ascends anteromedial to internal carotid artery. So first it lies anteromedial to the internal carotid artery in the carotid triangle, and as it goes up it becomes anterolateral to the internal carotid artery. It becomes anterolateral to that of the internal. That is its relationship with the internal carotid artery in the lower part and in the upper part of its course. Okay, so part of its course is within the carotid triangle to begin, and then the upper part, it lies in the parotid gland in the substance, and then will divide into the terminal branch at the level of the neck of the mandible. Okay, now let us come to see the relation of this external carotid artery. First we will see its relation in the carotid triangle in the lower half part of this, say for example, and then in the second part we will see its relation above the carotid triangle. So within the carotid triangle and above. So let us come first to its relation within the carotid triangle. Okay, for that there is a diagram which may look as lot of the structures shown here, and I will first give you an orientation of this diagram here. Let us see this diagram first, and this is the anterior border of the sternomastoid or sternocleidomastoid muscle, and I have just drawn it very, superficially, not so dark color is given so that you can see the deeper structure which are lying deep to the sternocleidomastoid. So this is the posterior boundary of the carotid triangle, and then this is the superior belly of omohyoid forming and anteroinferior border of the carotid triangle. And then this is the posterior belly of the digastric muscle. It is the common tendon of the digastric muscle, and thus it is the anterior boundary. Okay, this is the inferior, anteroinferior, anterosuperior boundary, and this is the posterior boundary. So this is the boundary. So this area within this triangular area is the carotid triangle, and we have just said that this is the the common carotid artery which divides at the level of the thyroid cartilage into the internal carotid. So this artery, I will just label it here as internal carotid, and this is the external carotid. I will just label it here as external carotid artery. So this is internal carotid and this is the external carotid artery. Now this is the site where they are the terminal branches of common carotid, internal and external carotid within the carotid triangles are arising. So this is the course of the external carotid artery, and here we will learn first what are the relation of the artery while it lies within the carotid triangle. Then it goes deep to the posterior belly of digastric to lie retromandibular part, posterior to the ramus of the mandible here, right up to the neck of the mandible. In this part, most of its part is within the substance of the parotid gland, and we will learn its relation, superficial and deep, in both the areas within the carotid triangle and above the carotid triangle. So let us see the relation in this carotid triangle. And first carotid triangle, we will see its superficial relation when the external carotid artery is lying in the or running in the carotid triangle. So it is in the carotid triangle, it is covered by the skin, then it is covered by the superficial fascia, and as I said in the previous video also, this is the side of the neck. Hence, the superficial fascia contains the subcutaneous muscle platysma. So there is a covering of the platysma superficially, and then will come the cervical branch of the facial nerve. Okay, we have seen the facial nerve divides into many branches at the anterior margin of the, and these branches comes out at the anterior margin of the parotid gland, and through which comes out. The lowermost branch is called as the cervical branch of the facial nerve, which is motor to this platysma. Okay, and this nerve will cross this in the triangle, okay, carotid triangle superficially, and then will come and all this structure, they are in the superficial fascia, and after that the deeper structure, deep to superficial fascia, is the general investing layer of the deep fascia. It is the general investing layer of the deep fascia which will go and attach to the base of the mandible above. Okay, then this deep to the general investing layer of the deep fascia, this is crossed by the hypoglossal nerve. And see here, this is the hypoglossal nerve coming here, 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 and going like this. So I will just label it as the, here in this area, hypoglossal nerve. And this is the 12th cranial nerve. So this is the hypoglossal nerve. This is present in the carotid triangle, crossing to this external carotid artery. See this crossing superficial to the external carotid artery. Now here this two veins will also cross this external carotid, the lingual and common facial. Okay, common facial will be above and lingual will be veins. They are the vein. Okay, common facial vein and the lingual vein, as they will go to drain into the larger vein, the internal jugular vein. Okay, so these are the two veins will also cross it superficially, and though I have drawn this sternocleidomastoid to show the complete triangle, but in the anatomical position, this artery, that is external carotid artery, will lie deep to the anterior margin of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Okay, so that will also form the superficial. So we have learned the superficial relation in the carotid triangle. Okay, and that of the external carotid artery. Let us go what lies deep to the external carotid artery within the carotid triangle. And this external carotid artery in the carotid triangle, it is medially and deeply it is related to the wall of the pharynx. And wall of the pharynx means this is lying onto the muscle, which hyoglossus muscle will be there in uppermost part. Then this will be related to the muscles of the pharynx, like the middle constrictor and the inferior constrictor. Okay, so that will be that means the structure of the floor of the carotid triangle, it will be related to those structure. Okay, now then deeply it is also related with a nerve of the vagus taking origin from the vagus, and this is called as the superior laryngeal nerve. I will show you. This is the ganglion of the vagus, and this is that nerve, superior laryngeal nerve taking origin. Then it is coming into deeply into the carotid triangle, and then this nerve divides into two. Okay, it divides into two branches, and this branch are the internal laryngeal and external laryngeal. Internal laryngeal, they are the branch of the superior laryngeal nerve. So I will write it here, superior laryngeal nerve. Superior laryngeal nerve, okay, in short form, because lot of more labelings are going to come here. So this is which is dividing into the internal laryngeal and external. Internal laryngeal will pierce the thyroid membrane and will go inside the larynx, while external laryngeal will remain superficial to supply the cricothyroid muscle. Okay, so this is the superior, which is also in the posterior. See this external carotid, and posterior to this both the nerves are there. Branches from superior laryngeal are going. Then what you will see here is an ascending pharyngeal artery, which will also lie posterior to the external carotid artery. This is an ascending pharyngeal branch. I will show you in this diagram also, ascending. Though it is taking origin from the deeper aspect of the external carotid artery, but I have shown you here on the side so as to be visible. Otherwise, it lies deep to the external carotid because it is taking from the deeper surface. So this artery itself will be the deep to it. Okay, that is artery is called as ascending pharyngeal. I am giving name here, ascending pharyngeal, the first branch from the external carotid artery. So this were the superficial and the deep relation of the external carotid artery in the carotid while it is. Then it will pass deep to the posterior belly of the digastric and will come in the upper part above the posterior belly of the digastric, means above the carotid triangle. And let us see the relation in the upper part of the external carotid artery in this part. Now we have come out of the carotid triangle. Let us see the superficial relation. Superficial relation is present deep in the substance of the parotid gland. So this whole thing will go in the substance of the parotid gland, and in parotid gland itself, superficially it is related to a vein present here in the substance of parotid, and this vein is called as retromandibular vein. So the retromandibular vein will lie superficial to it. In the video of the external jugular vein, we have seen the formation of the retromandibular vein. Okay, and then this will be also crossed by the facial nerve. Okay, it will be crossed by the facial branches of facial nerve, which also lie in the substance of parotid. So there will be two superficial relations within the substance of parotid. One is the retromandibular vein and another are the facial nerve, which is dividing into its terminal branches. Okay, terminal branches. These are the two important relations of the this. Let us come to the deep relation in this area, that means above the carotid triangle. What are the deep relation? The deep relation in this area is the internal carotid artery itself. Okay, though in the diagram it is spread up, okay, you are seeing that it is away from, but in the anatomical position this will lie deep to that of the external carotid. So the internal carotid artery, okay, is deep to the external carotid artery. So it is its deeper relation. Then this is the stelloid process. You can see here this stelloid process is here, and many muscles are attached to the stelloid process, which will go between the external and internal carotid artery, those structures which are attached to the stelloid process. For example, styloglossus, which is going to tongue after taking origin from stelloid process, it will also, this styloglossus will also lie deep to the external carotid. Stylopharyngeus, which is going to the pharynx, and the glossopharyngeal nerve, and this will also lie deep to the external. This nerve, see, this nerve is coming from here. This is the glossopharyngeal. Okay, this is deep to the external carotid artery. So I will give the name to this here as the glossopharyngeal, or just remember that it is the ninth cranial nerve, that is the glossopharyngeal. Okay, that will lie deep. So which structure? Those structures which are attached to the stelloid process, they will pass the three muscles and now they will pass deep to the external carotid artery. Okay, right? Then there will be also a nerve which is going, okay, deep to the external carotid artery, just below the glossopharyngeal, this nerve, and it is taking origin from the vagus, and this is the pharyngeal branch of the vagus, which will form the pharyngeal plexus on the pharynx. Okay, so I should write it here, that is the pharyngeal branch of the vagus. Okay, that will also lie deep, pharyngeal branch of the vagus nerve. And then stelloid process itself, which is lying deep to the external, between the external and the internal carotid. Okay, internal carotid. Now the superior laryngeal nerve here, okay, it here, when it is present here above the carotid triangle, it is also lying posterior to the external carotid artery. Okay, this superior laryngeal nerve, and the presence of this superior sympathetic ganglion, not shown here. Okay, but there is the presence of a ganglion also posterior to it, and this is superior cervical sympathetic ganglion, not shown in this diagram. So these are the structures which are present, okay, are the relations, okay, of the external carotid artery, which we have divided into two, within the carotid triangle and above the carotid triangle. Now we come to the termination. After relations, we come to the termination of the external carotid artery. Where will it terminate? This external carotid artery is here. This is the internal carotid. Let me write it here. Internal carotid. And this is the external carotid. I will write it here. External carotid, where it is dividing this common carotid is dividing into two terminal branches, external and internal carotid artery. Now after its origin at the level of the upper border of thyroid cartilage, it will terminate here, and the level of termination is posterior to the neck Okay, neck of the mandible. This is the neck of this is the condylar process or head of the mandible, neck, and this is the posterior border of the ramus where it is running. I have shown a gap here, but it is almost negligible gap is there where it is running. This is all occupied by the parotid gland, okay, and through the substance of which it is running, okay, in this area. So this is the termination of the external carotid artery into two terminal branches. This is called a superficial temporal branch, and this will be called as maxillary artery. So in the superficial temporal and maxillary artery, this artery will divide external, okay, and will end here, okay. Superficial temporal will go into the temporal region, and maxillary artery will go deep to the neck of the mandible to go ultimately through the infratemporal fossa to the pterygopalatine groove or the fossa, okay, fissure, through the into the pterygopalatine fossa, pterygomaxillary fissure. Through this it will go into the pterygopalatine fossa. Okay, this was the termination of the external carotid artery. Let us come to the branches of the external carotid artery. I will show you in this diagram the various branches of the external carotid artery. See this especially drawn here because this is quite confusing diagram is here. Okay, so this was another structure was here which I have not shown you, the ansa cervicalis, though it is nothing to do with that of the external carotid artery, and many of these branches are taking origin from the carotid triangle, from the external carotid. Let us come to see now the branches from the external carotid artery. Okay, this is a simple diagram for the external carotid artery. Just draw it and label it along with me. Now, the first branch which takes origin from the external carotid artery is this branch called as the ascending pharyngeal branch. Okay. Now, this takes origin from the medial aspect of the external carotid artery and is not seen in this view. But I have drawn it here so as to label it as the first branch of ascending pharyngeal artery. Now this artery, after its origin, it runs towards the upward, ascended upwards towards the base of the skull, where it divides into many branches. Out of these many branches, few supply to that of the pharynx. That's why it is called as ascending. And as we will learn later, some of its branch will go to the cranial cavity. Okay, so this is the first branch, the ascending pharyngeal branch. Let us go to the second branch of this external carotid artery, which is given also within the carotid triangle, and this is the superior thyroid artery. I have written here as the superior thyroid artery. Now this artery will go downwards and forwards after its origin from the anterior margin of the external carotid artery, and then it will end into the muscular triangle where the parotid gland is present, thyroid gland is present, and it will supply to the thyroid gland as well as to that of the neighboring areas, okay, neighboring areas. So this is the superior thyroid artery, okay, superior thyroid, second branch which is taking origin from the carotid triangle, as I have also shown you ascending pharyngeal, and this is the superior thyroid branch, okay, superior going out of the carotid triangle, but both are taking origin from the carotid triangle. Let us come to the third branch, and this third branch is called as lingual artery, okay, lingual. It is called as lingual artery, and it also arises from the anterior margin of the external carotid artery and has a characteristic loop formation. Okay, this forms a loop very close to that of the greater carnua. Okay, and this supplies the tongue. As the name suggests, it is lingual artery. This will go deep inside the tongue to supply the tongue. Okay, but landmark is that it is close to the tip of the greater carnua, to which it forms a loop-like structure. Okay, loop-like structure. Then the fourth branch, and the fourth branch is just situated above it, and this is called as the facial artery. This will be called as facial artery. And facial artery, we have already seen in the previous videos that this facial artery will go into the face. First is go in the submandibular region, grooving the submandibular gland, then will come out at the base, and then it will ascend up onto this body of the mandible, then it will go to the angle of mouth and then to the nose. So this artery is called as the facial artery. Okay, facial artery. So this is the facial artery. Let us go to the fifth branch, and fifth branch takes its origin almost at the same level, but from the posterior margin of the artery, external carotid, okay, at the same level as the facial artery. And this artery is called as the occipital artery. This is called as occipital artery. Okay, and this will supply the posterior part of the scalp. Okay, we have seen in our video previous in the suboccipital triangle, we have seen it is present on the just at the upper angle of the suboccipital triangle. So this is the occipital artery which will supply the scalp, that means posterior part, mostly above the superior nuchal line. Okay, above the I mean say much above the superior nuchal line. Okay, this was the fifth branch. Let us come to the sixth branch, and this sixth branch is the also taking origin from the posterior margin, and this is called as the posterior auricular. Auricular, as the name suggests, it will go towards the external auricle or ear. Okay, auricular branch, and it runs posteriorly above the digastric muscle. See in this diagram where this is the digastric belly is here very lightly drawn. This was the occipital artery at the lower margin of the this digastric muscle, but at the upper margin of this digastric muscle running is the occipital, the posterior auricular artery. That means this posterior auricular artery is taking origin above the carotid triangle. Okay, the rest of the branches, ascending pharyngeal, then the superior thyroid, lingual, facial, and occipital, they were taking origin from the carotid. This is the artery which is taking origin outside the carotid, posterior auricular, and runs on the upper border of the digastric, posterior belly of the digastric muscle. Okay, and it will go deep to the mastoid process. Okay, to supply the area of the auricle. Okay, right. So this is the posterior auricular. Okay, this will supply an area close to the mastoid, including the auricular auricle also. Then the seventh branch from this and the eighth branch of this, they are the terminal branches of the external carotid artery, the superior temporal. Okay, this will come seems to be continuation of the external carotid, and it will go up. Okay, and this superior temporal, as I said, is a terminal branch. Okay, and this both arteries, both terminal branches and posterior auricular, they will arise in the substance of the parotid gland when it is passing through the parotid gland. Okay, and this will go in the temporal region. Superior temporal will go up into the temporal region, where it will divide into two branches, a frontal and the parietal. Frontal will go forward and parietal will go upward. So this is the frontal and parietal branches will be given by superior temporal. Then the last branch, terminal branch, I mean to say, which is again arising from the parotid substance, within the parotid substance, and this is called as maxillary artery. Now this terminal branch is given out at the level of the neck of the mandible. Okay, I have drawn, as I said, away from the posterior border of the ramus of mandible. They are very close. Okay, as soon as it will arise, it will go deep to the neck of the mandible. Okay, and from here it will go to the pterygoid fossa, okay, infratemporal fossa, and then it will go to the pterygopalatine fossa, into the pterygopalatine, through the pterygomaxillary fissure, through the, so this is the maxillary artery and superior, which are terminal branches. Now, as I said that, except the maxillary, superior temporal and posterior, these three branches, okay, out of which two are terminal, rest of the branches are given from the carotid, within the carotid triangle, and they are above the carotid triangle. This completes the question on the external carotid artery, okay, its relations, its course, its termination, and then we have learned about its branches, okay, branches and where they are going ultimately. Thank you very much for watching this video.